Welcome everybody. I'm Alex, and today I have an extraordinary guest joining us. Rick Waid is a SEER remote viewer, an energy connection reader who specializes in connecting with past loved ones. Rick has been doing some truly remarkable work. Recently, he gave over 40 readings in a single night. At one of his events, he captured incredible evidence, including, which is happens to be one of my favorite that I've seen, a window opening on demand, stunning EVPs, and so much more. I'm excited to dive into his experiences and learn about the fascinating world he navigates. Rick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I've been doing this for, honestly, it's been about 22 years now. I started out in the paranormal 22 years, and it started by watching the show, The Ghost Hunters. My wife decided to record it because I work all the time, and we was going to watch it later at night. So she did that, and we would actually watch this show, and I got really, into it. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. They're capturing these voices, or capturing these images that are coming through on their machines and stuff. I was excited. I was thrilled. So I was kind of glued to the TV every night watching this show. I watched it for a certain period of time, I think probably about a year. But in the meantime, I thought, well, I'm going to go out and try to do some stuff myself. So my son came to me and said, Dad, there's this old house at the end of the road. Come on down here and check it out. We're going to go out here tonight at 10 o'clock. We're all going to go out. So my son-in-law, my son, and some other friends were there. So we went down to this old house, and it's a creepy old house at the end of the road. It was all boarded up and locked up. See, it was locked up tight. You could not get in it because the fire department used it for training new employees. So they would start a fire, they would go in there and they put it out. So there was, a lot of probably bad boards and things in there where you can fall and get hurt. So what they would do, they would double lock it. They would lock it. They put boards on the back door. You couldn't get in the place. So we actually walked around. I was getting, that spooky feeling, getting into the ghost hunting stuff. So I walked around the right side and went back around the left side. And I looked up there, and there was a shutter door that was actually on the window, connected to the window. So I said, if there's any spirits here, it was open at the time. I said, if there's any spirits here, just like the ghost hunters, I said, if there's any spirits here, close that door. And it honestly closed for me as soon as I asked it to do it. Now that's kind of creepy, right? Kind of creepy. So I ended up telling everybody there, and they're like, oh, whatever, man, whatever. That didn't happen. So I went and got my video camera, and I really wasn't into video cameras. I didn't really know much about it. My wife we just got one, and we started filming our children. So I came back with the video camera, and my son-in-law said, hey, turn that night vision on, man. We'll be able to see better. So we pulled into the driveway, and you can see the original video. I have more of the actual video besides just the shutter opening. But we pulled in, and I said, if there's any spirits here, open the door. And then I said it again, if there's any spirits here, open the door. And I'm telling you, it opens up. Really, that creaky sound opens up. Now, what's interesting is I didn't know what was happening. It was connected to me. It was connected to my son-in-law. We didn't know. So we came back a few other times. And one time we came back, the camera broke. Okay, the camera broke. It would not actually film or anything. It just made a weird noise. It wouldn't actually do anything. So we asked the door to open up. It opened up. We asked it to open halfway. It opened halfway. It asked it to open up real fast. It opened up real fast. I'm telling you, it did like 12 commands for us right in front of our eyes, but we had no proof. So there was something more than just the wind blowing like people are thinking. There was something more. And if you watch the video really close, and I slowed it down, the original video, I slowed it down, and you can see on the porch an image appears of a lady, like an old-fashioned lady from the 1900s with a hat and a dress on. Really, really cool.
I love that. Can you tell us how you first discovered your abilities?
Well, I did the paranormal for a while. I got into EVPs. That was my goal to get started, and all this stuff was, I would go to haunted locations. I would actually, try to connect and everything. I've used a camera. Back in the old days, it was a camera and a video camera. I'd use the camera, and I would snap, and I would get these orbs, and I'm thinking they're ghosts and spirits, but really, it was just dust. I didn't know. I was inexperienced. But, it took me a while before I actually got my gift. I had to do the paranormal for a long time. I did the paranormal probably for 2 years. But the reason why I stopped the paranormal is because my wife, I had an obsession with EVPs. Okay. I got to a point where I was obsessed with EVPs and I was recording everywhere. Everywhere I went, I could hear spirits talking on a recorder. I was obsessed with it. I would capture sometimes up to 30 EVPs a minute. So it was really, really crazy what was happening to me. So my wife would actually take my recorders and she would hide them so I couldn't find them. But I was starting to get my gift. So I could actually figure out where she hid them. And then I would actually go take them, sneak out and do my ghost hunting, and then put them back before she knew about it. So that's what was happening to me. But it got to a point where my wife, was asking me to stop because she was worried I was going to get hurt. I was worried I was going to actually fall and somewhere and die because I usually did it by myself. So I ended up stopping the paranormal. And the reason why I stopped the paranormal is because I got an actual experience from an angel. So what happened was I was out doing a recording at this old schoolhouse. I told my wife I was going to do a job, but I ended up going to the schoolhouse. I waited through this 3 foot of snow because we had a big snowstorm, put my recorder back there and I waited back and I realized my Durango was on an angle in a ditch and I couldn't get out. I said, oh my goodness, my wife's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. So all of a sudden, a guy comes around. He says, listen, I can get you out. Just go ahead, hook the chains up. He said, give it gas. So I gave it gas. We didn't move. Couldn't budget. So I ended up calling the tow truck. And all of a sudden, another truck came around. He said, I can get you out. I said, sir, I'm on with the tow truck. He said, hang up. You don't have to call a tow truck. I can get you out. But this time, don't give it gas. Now, do you understand what I just said? This time, don't give it gas. How in the heck did he know that the other guy told me to give it gas, right?
Right.
And he's knowing what's happening before, it happened earlier before he would even know about it. So all of a sudden, he does pull me out like nothing. Pulls me out, didn't give a gas. He pulled me out like nothing. And as I'm bringing his chains back, he hands me a brochure about God. And he says, stop doing what you're doing. So I'm like, holy crap. How did he even know what I'm doing? Right. So I think this was a guardian angel that came to me and said, listen, stop doing what you're doing because he was messing with a lot of negative energy. I was getting a lot of low EVPs, low, I was hearing a lot of demonic voices. I was hearing some moans and screamings and groans and stuff. So I was messing with some negative stuff that I didn't even know what I was doing. So I ended up stopped doing it. And the reason why I stopped doing the EVPs and started finding my gifts because God led me to a way to stop. So what he would do every time I thought of an EVP, I would see a green Bible. And then all of a sudden, another EVP, I would see a green Bible. I'd be in the bathroom, there was a green Bible. I'd be at the gas pump, there was a green Bible. For 30 days, I saw 30 Bibles. And then all of a sudden, to the point where I wasn't even excited about EVPs anymore. It kind of like he took it away. But then I kept the recorder, and the recorder, I said to myself, what can I do with this recorder? I love the recorder. So I started thinking about what was going to happen on my next job. So I end up thinking, okay, I'm seeing a bed, kitty corner, in a house with red covers and white sheets folded back. So I go to my job, I'm going and measuring, and all of a sudden I have my cell phone and everything on me. I go into measuring, I go to the last bedroom, there's the bed, kitty corner with the red sheets. With the red, covers and the white sheets for the back. Kitty corner, exactly how I saw it. So I was shocked. So I started using the recorder now, not to capture EVPs, but to capture what I was seeing. And it got to a point where I was up to like 30 to 40% accurate on what I was seeing. Next thing you know, I was getting to 80 to 90% accurate. So I said to myself, what am I going to do with this? That's when, before Facebook, before TikTok, before Instagram, all those, there was a thing called MySpace. I was on MySpace, an old way of connecting with people. But I ended up getting on another thing. Back in the days, they had all kinds of actual, like on the internet, they had like unexplained mysteries, unexplained mystery groups and stuff, or paranormal groups and stuff. So I joined this unexplained mystery group. And I put a post up there, let me see what's around you. So what I was doing at the time, I did not know was called remote viewing. I didn't know what remote viewing was. So basically what it was, I could actually see things in another state or in another country, and I could see it in front of them as I'm talking to them. That's called remote viewing. I can, for instance, I say I'm sitting here and all of a sudden I look and I can see a heart-shaped clock. And I said to the person, I'm seeing a heart-shaped clock in your corner. And they're like, oh my goodness. They would take a picture and send it back to me. I'm like, holy crap. How am I seeing that? That's what was happening to me. I was seeing things around people. That was my first gift, was seeing things around people. And I did this on this page. I had like probably 300 to 500 people coming to me, wanting me to read them. And it was just like a fun thing. I was learning, exploring my gifts and everything. I didn't even know what I had. I just was actually having a good time, but I was so accurate with my information. And so that's how I actually started in my actual gift to actually start connecting with objects.
And what was the moment like when you realized that you could connect with the energies and past loved ones?
Well, see, that was the thing. See, the next thing that caught my attention was an individual came on the website and said, "Listen, could you do me a favor?" And she sent me a message. Can you connect with my past life? Now, before I did readings of past loved ones, I learned how to do past life readings. So I said, "Sure, I'll take a look. I've never done it before. I'm having fun. Let's try this out." So I gave her information. I said, honestly, I have this wild imagination. So I saw her in the 1800s. I saw her, on a wagon. I saw her being chased by Indians. And all of a sudden, I seen her fall off the wagon and break her neck. This is what I saw. So I told her, I said, I feel pain in my neck. I feel like you broke your neck. And I feel this is how you died in your past life. So I gave her a bunch of other stuff, which actually made sense to her. But she said to me, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" She said, "I've been having this horrible pain in my neck. I've been to over 10 doctors and none of them can figure out what's wrong with me. But now, what you've given me is enough information I kind of understand that it's my past life. I'm feeling my past life now in this current life." Well, honestly, her pain went away. It all went away. It disappeared, and she never had the pain anymore. So that's when I started reading past lives and started offering information what I was seeing. That's what I did for a period of time before I got onto Facebook. Of course, Facebook came about, and everybody was going on Facebook. But the problem was, is everybody was reading these pictures, everybody was reading these past loved ones, and I couldn't do it. It took me probably 6 months, 3 to 6 months before I could even make any kind of connection with the past loved one. I could still read past life, but nobody really cared about past life. They wanted to connect with past loved ones. So I'm having issues. I'm not being able to do it. I'm not being able to connect. I'm watching all these other people do it. I don't know how they're doing it. So all of a sudden, another angel came in my life and said to me, "Hey, I have this great group. I want you to come here and read past loved ones." I'm like, "I can't read past loved ones. I've tried it. I'm really bad at it." And they're like, she said, "Yes, you can." In my book, I talk about this. In one of my books, I talk about this individual. So, yes, I joined the group. And honestly, she set me up a post. And I just started reading people past loved ones, hitting on target after on target. I had like 300 to 400 people waiting for readings. I had to close that post down and open up another post. I had so many people coming for readings. But the thing is, it got to the point where I was reading 7 to 10 people a day for actual readings for past loved ones. It was to a point where there was my obsession with the paranormal, EVPs. Now I have this obsession with readings because everybody's coming to me. It was taking over my mind, body, and soul too. So there was another huge addiction was happening to me.
Do you feel almost like you're a healer, like you're healing people in a way?
Well, let me tell you, it's basically what it is. I'm actually giving them information. I'm giving them information that's very, very valuable to them. So, for instance, say I'm reading a past loved one, and all of a sudden, I might, let's say they had a special word or a number that you know, that they remembered. They wanted whoever brings this number up, that's me coming through, right? So I did this on a radio show one time, and the lady said, uh, you know, can you tell me the number? And I said, what comes to me is number 9. And it was number 9. And it blew her away. She was bawling her eyes out, crying because that's what it was. So to be able to give that kind of information does heal an individual. It does lift up all that, that negative feeling that is never going to happen. Now it really did happen. And really that person is around me, really is connecting with me. So it gives them hope. It gives them, excitement that their loved ones really are not gone.
And how did your family and friends react when you first shared your gifts with them?
Well, I don't really have any many friends. My family, the thing is they went through basically hell. I'll be honest with you, with my EVPs obsession, with my reading obsession. I mean, I had different levels of reading obsession: past life, remote viewing, past loved ones, energy connection, remote viewing of places, the haunted location. They went through a lot. So it got to a point where they're kind of like, don't even want to talk to me about it because it was so overwhelming for them. Okay. But now, it's kind of interesting. I take my daughters, I take my kids with me, and we go on ghost hunts now. So it's kind of cool. And they bring a lot of energy too, and a lot of spirits come around them. And I get a lot of extraordinary stuff that comes through because they're young. So it's really, really cool. So it's kind of to a point where now, what it was when I first started with the reading stuff, I never charged readings. Okay. So I went and probably did, I'd say, probably about 6,000 readings to 7,000 readings for free because I had to learn, I had to understand, I had to figure out what was going on. I just didn't start going to charge. But then a medium came to me and she gave me a reading. She said, listen, what you need to do, this is what's happening to you. You are a big, humongous Coke, and every individual has a straw inside of you, inside of your Coke. And they, every time they take a sip, they take part of your energy. And what's happening is they're just taking all your energy. That's all these free readings, and nothing's coming back in. So nothing's coming back in to fill me back up. So I started charging small amounts, $5, $10 for a reading. But I was still doing these amazing readings and connecting with past loved ones. And what's interesting about my readings is I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic. I call myself a seer, but I connect with the person's energy when they were here on earth. Okay. That's how I connect. I'm not a medium seeing them on the other side, if that even exists or if that even happens. I'm seeing them right here when they were here alive on earth. And that's why I give them direct connect information about them. It's like whenever they want a reading from me, they give me the first name of the individual and I directly connect to that individual. They don't have to tell me if it's their dad, or if it's their brother, or if it's their child. They don't have to say anything. Just give me the name. And how many millions and millions of names is Frank? But I still connecting directly with that individual, with that person, and giving them shocking information about memories, about direct connect details about their relationship and things they did together, how that person lived, how that person died. I mean, all that stuff is being given to me.
Can you walk us through what happens during one of your readings? What do you experience?
Well, basically, what it is, all it is like an individual wants me to connect with their past loved one. I take the name and then I look down and I never look at an individual. This is one thing. I grew up watching skeptics really tear up mediums, okay, and psychics. They watched them because they watched how they looked at the individual. They watched how they responded to questions and stuff. I don't do any of that. I actually look down and I never let an individual communicate back with me during a reading. I have to let them, I have to have all the information that's being given to me. Then I offer it to the individual. Then if they want to talk, great. But they can't do back and forth. And this is a big problem with the world nowadays. Somebody asks, I'm feeling a 70-year-old, 80-year-old grandpa, or just a 78-year-old man. Hey, okay. Let me think about this. Yeah, that's my cousin Bill or something. You know what I mean? So now they're getting information to feed out that information so they can keep going on with the reading. I don't do that. So if you want me to connect with cousin Bill or Uncle Bill, I will close my eyes and connect with that individual. And it's amazing because it's almost like I connect with the person's energy and the person that they want me to read. So I feel that everybody has a guide, spirit guide, a guardian angel. And what happens whenever I am in a session with an individual, they want me to connect with their energy. That spirit guide is like an actual they're basically like an outlet, and I am a plug, and I plug in the outlet, and boom, everything's downloaded to me. Like their beginning of their life, their middle of their life, what's going on with them now, what's going on in their future sometimes. All that's downloaded to me instantly, and I can start offering that information to them, which is kind of cool.
I want to say, I just think that something you had just said, well, like, kind of threw me off guard for a second in a good way. Um, so recently I have been like talking about my grandfather who had passed and
Okay.
stuff, and his name's Bill.
Also, it's interesting now. See, scenarios, when I give scenarios, they usually connect with people too. So it's really weird. It's just like I'm always giving something out. You know what I mean? Kind of cool.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, out of all the names, I kind of wasn't expecting that one.
See, that's what it's all about. And the thing is also with my EVPs, I do EVP sessions for past loved ones. So we'll sit down and I'll have them actually, I'll walk away and let them talk to their loved one. Then we'll come back and listen, or I'll sit in the session and see if I hear anything. See, I have this ability to hear spirits in real time. So basically, let's say if your grandpa was around and he wanted to say something, I could actually hear it out of my ear, him talking, or he'll be on the recorder. But sometimes I can hear him talking. And I'll say, I just heard Bill say, I miss you. And we'll play the recorder back, and there it is. I miss you on a recorder. So, which is pretty amazing.
I love that. That's kind of what happens to me. See, I love how talking to people, I'm still learning about like what people call things because I really don't understand that. Like the different names for everything.
Well,
Um,
I'm different than other people. Okay. So I say things differently. Some people call them disembodied voices. Okay.
like
I
seers or like mediums.
No, paranormal people call them disembodied voices. I don't call them that. I call them real time voices. So, in other words, they're here and are real time talking. If I'm able to hear them talking, that's a real time voice. That's not a disembodied voice. That's a real time voice. I'm hearing what they're saying and what they're bringing across. But to them, they're not gifted like me. So they're going to say that it's a disembodied voice. Okay. In other words, it don't have a body. It's just a voice in the atmosphere. Okay. But I call them real time voices.
I like So, what was the moment like when you realized, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
for
Take it.
some reason my thing scrolled up and I
You
read
will
the
get
same
you will
question.
weird things going on with computers too with me because I usually will mess with my energy, will mess or the energy around will mess with our stuff.
I've actually noticed that because my notes I have had it's like refreshed 3 times on its own so far.
Yeah, I see cut off complete shows and I can't get back on. Facebook won't let me back on.
Oh man. So you recently gave over 40 readings in one night. How do you prepare for an intense event like that?
Well, the thing is, the year before last, I read only 19 people in a 4 hour time frame. Okay. But this time it was more like a push. They wanted to push and give everybody a reading. And they had way more people, like double the amount of people coming. So basically, I had like 15 people in line the whole night. I mean, I was at a table like this, and there was 15 people in line the whole night for the whole 5 hours. So it's kind of crazy. But the thing is, what it is I was just hustling and bustling as fast as I could to get a reading. So basically, what it is, I don't give fast. I don't give big, long readings. I give fast. Usually, whenever I give a connection, within 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to get what you need out of a reading. Most people can't do that. So I'm going to have an individual sit down, and all I ask them, do you want me to connect with your energy? Do you want me to connect with your past loved one? And they say, yeah, connect with my energy. I look down, boom, I offer that 5 or 6 minutes. And they like, holy crap. It's like, you become part of me. It's like, you know everything about me. And then that person moves, next person sits down. Boom, what do you want? I do the same thing. But then I have to take breaks, like after like 6 or 7 or 8, I have to take a break, walk around because I get kind of stiff. My back kind of hurts and energy is being pulled from me. So I had to kind of regain that energy. So that's what I do. I get a drink, try to get a drink. And like right now, I'm thirsty. Gotta get a drink. And that's what I do. But the thing is, it's very rare do you see any medium or any psychic can do that many readings. And the thing is, I was very on target with everybody. I mean, everybody's talking about me at the place. I mean, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I read 15 actual people that were in, they were actual, what is a person that I keep doing when they work on your face and stuff? What kind of surgeon is I keep forgetting what that.
Uh, Plastic surgeon?
Yes, I read the whole team of plastic surgeons at the hotel, and they're like, "What is going on with this guy? I never heard of you." And see, most people don't even know who I am because I kind of kept this private. I never really wanted to get out big. I probably could get out big if I get in the right news media, because there's nobody out there that does what I do. I mean, you got your mediums that they'll have a crowd of 15, 20 people, and they'll feel an energy over here. I'm feeling like a grandma over here, or I'm feeling like a brother over here. I'm not like that. I'm a direct connect reader. So if The last event I did, before that one, I did one at the Witches Weekend. And basically what it is, I walk up to the individual, what would you like? Boom. I read that person, connect with them. Then I go to the next person. Then I go to the next table. Then I go to the next table. Then I go to the next table until I get at least, 15, 20, 30 people read. And the thing is it's really cool to be able to experience this because I get rid of the energy as soon as I get done with it. Boom. I'm moving on to the next one. I'm fresh. I'm ready to go. Now, years ago, when I first started this, I would only read one person a day, because that's all. It just took me forever. I mean, I offered all I could give, and it just stressed me out. And then all of a sudden, on a radio show, a shaman came on, and he said, "Rick, let me tell you something. You're reading one right now, but in the future, you're going to read 10, 15, 20 people like nothing, one after another." Exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So, and even at the end of the day, I'm a little tired. I'm exhausted. My body aches because it's sitting all day. You know what I mean? For 4 hours, it's going to exhaust anybody. But that's what it is. It ain't so much that people are taking my energy, because they're taking it for a little bit, and I'm getting it right back. But it's an amazing experience. But see, the thing is, TV they don't know who I am. They just don't. The big world don't know who I am. I was on Unexplained Caught on Camera, but they only have my name as Rick on it. They didn't have my name as Rick Waid. So they would have did that. It would have been way more popular. But the thing is nobody really knows me. Just a small group. And I work a full-time job. I'm working 40, 50 hours a week in my job. So a full-time job. So I do this only once in a while. I mean, it's gotten to a point where I hardly do it at all anymore. But I got, some ghost hunts I do and stuff like that. But, I'm realizing spending more time with the family is really important right now with what's going on in my family. So I think it's very important. But this year usually I book 8 events a year. I've only booked one event this year, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got some things up my sleeve though. I got something interesting up my sleeve. Shh, we won't say nothing. Yeah, something might be kind of cool if it works out really good. So, which is awesome.
What does it feel like energetically to do that many readings back to back when you were doing it all the time?
Well, before I knew how to release energy, it was a nightmare for me. I would actually, for instance, like say, I would connect with a person that, committed suicide and they had really bad depression. I would carry that depression all day or the next day with me. Didn't know how to release it. Sometimes, and still sometimes, energies can connect with me after I read them and they will stay with me. It's like my mind is like it's stuck with that energy. It won't let go of me. So sometimes they latch onto me and they stay with me for a while. And I'll tell you what, it's rough whenever you're in a depressed state and you don't want to live. And then I can feel that stuff. I can feel that, not wanting to be here. And I can sit in my bedroom for 2 or 3 days and being depressed. It's not good. It's not good. So these people that go through this stuff, it's a horrible feeling. And it's something that's really hard to control. And whenever it's that time to say it's over, it's really hard for them to say no. They're going to do it. It's just hard for them to say no. They can't do it. They can't control themselves. It's really
Oh,
sad.
that's so sad.
Very sad.
Yeah. Whew. Goodness, almost made me cry for a second. Oh, I'm an empath too, so just thinking about
So you'll
that.
feel it.
Yeah. Oh man. How do you protect your own energy while doing this kind of work?
Well, see, right now, I always say a prayer beforehand. I mean, I ask God to cover me with his white light. That's the only thing I ask. Even whenever I go to a ghost hunt, cover me with your white light. Lead the spirits there. Don't let them follow me. It's a very simple prayer. That's all it is. That's all I do. I don't bring crystals. I don't bring stones. I don't bring jewelry. I don't bring, whatever, stuff that you burn, sage and stuff. I don't do any of that stuff. I just ask one thing, and that's all I ask. And I believe in that. And that's all I need. It's like an armor, and it doesn't affect me.
And you've captured some amazing evidence. Can you tell us about the window opening on demand? What was happening in that moment?
Well, the thing is about it is, I've never had any, and well, I've had paranormal experiences before. It's my whole family paranormal. In my third book, I wrote all about that. But, the thing is about it, whenever it happened, I was kind of blown away. I was blown away. It's like something in my mind clicked. This is my new life. This is my new adventure. I'm going to put time and energy into trying to figure out if there really is spirits and ghosts, because That moment was shocking. It was shocking. And a lot of people have seen that video. It's had like probably 7 million views on Facebook. So a lot of people have actually watched that video and have experienced and believe that really is something spiritual that was happening. I think that was my awakening. So from that point on, I put my time and energy into this. And I'm telling you, 22 years of this every day on my mind. I mean, I just went on to do a training up in Petoskey, and boom, as soon as I get a chance after training, I'm at the graveyard. But I captured crazy stuff. I just captured an amazing experience on walking, and you can hear me walking normally. But and I asked, I said, have the Native American walk with me. I said, come walk me, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody's running next to me, or somebody's walking really, really fast next to me. Now you can hear me walking, but somebody's walking really fast. So there is an energy walking with me. So I thought that was pretty amazing. But almost every time I go somewhere, I get something remarkable because they can trust me. They can trust me with the information, and I'll get it out to the right people. I'll get it out to the people that believe. I think that's important.
What are EVPs for those who might not know, and what's the most compelling one that you think you've captured?
Well, I love this is the one I love the most. There's a lot of them. I've got over probably 12,000 EVPs since I started this. There's tons of them, but I like the one that will change an individual. Okay, so I like the one that. Let me explain what an EVP is. An actual voice that comes on a recorder to say, I'll ask the question, "Hello, my name is Rick." Then all of a sudden, I'll play the recorder back, and you'll hear, "Hello, my name is Rick." But then you'll hear hello on the recorder, but nobody said hello in the room, or I never said hello, only once, but you hear it twice on the recorder. So there's a spirit talking on a recorder, which is kind of cool, right? So I did a session for two good friends, and their sister passed away. I think they were, yeah, I think they were. No, I think they were actually both sisters, and the other sister passed away. I think it's something like that. But anyways, the point is, I'm reading the two sisters, or the best friend and the sister, and one
Mhm.
passed away. So the thing is, what's interesting, there's so many amazing things about EVPs, especially if you have a baby in a room. A baby somehow generates more voices. Spirits are around babies, and you hear voices like crazy all the time, almost like the baby's talking, but the baby's not talking. It's a spirit talking. But the thing is, I did this. I said, listen, bring the baby in a room. So they brought the baby in a room. And I said, do you see the baby? And all of a sudden, you hear on the recorder, on the EVP, not on the video, thanks for the cake. Now, I don't know what that meant. I had no clue what it was. So I took the recorder, I played it back to them. I said, listen, I'm hearing thanks for the cake. And they're bawling their eyes out. I said, what is going on? They said, you're not going to believe this. An hour ago, we just baked a cake for my sister that passed away with all of our images on the cake. And then they bring me the cake and show it to me. Now, come on. Is that not crazy?
Oh my God. That's, yeah, wow. Yeah.
It'll blow your mind. Some of the stuff blows your mind. I'll be sitting here doing a recording, and all of a sudden, I'm reading Mom loves birds. All of a sudden, she'll say, Mom, are you around? And all of a sudden, you hear hundreds of birds flapping in my room. There's no birds here, but it's there. It's an actual audio from spiritual connection, flapping those birds, giving her a sign. I'm here, daughter. How amazing is that?
Have you ever received a message or a connection that completely surprised you?
Well, I have so many. I have so many. Sometimes I'll get more to the story than what they know. So all of a sudden, I was actually connecting with a friend's father, and he actually fell down the steps, and they said that he died. Um, but I gave them more information to the actual case, and I said, he didn't die from this; he died from something else. So I explained what I was seeing and what he was telling me, that he had an actual brain embolism or whatever. I can't even say the word. he had that happen to him before he went down the steps. He died before he went down the steps. Okay. And then fell and broke his neck. Right. So they said, oh, that's weird because, we never really found out about it. So they went back to the doctor and they said, yes, he actually had a brain aneurysm. Aneurysm, there it is, not embolism, but aneurysm. He had a brain aneurysm before he actually went down and broke his neck. So how cool is that? To get information about a person, more information that they never knew about, and to actually complete that cycle. It's pretty amazing.
You're really helping people get
Close,
the under.
close.
Go ahead.
I'm helping them get closure.
Yeah. What do you think happens to us after we pass? And what has your experiences taught you?
Well, it's really interesting because I feel, I always feel like we're actually in like, this is what I feel like we're in like a box or a cage. Okay. That's what we're in. It almost feels like we have to heal to a certain level of our body, our pains, our depression, our anxiety. It's almost like we're kind of being reborn again. Okay. But we have to heal all those issues that happen here on earth. And once those things are healed, then we get to move to the other side. Okay. And I feel when we move to the other side, we can pick any age we want. I sometimes will see a grandpa that died here, might be a teenager on the other side. I think we can pick whatever age we want to on the other side, but I think we have to go through a process. That's why some people say they haven't moved to the light yet. But I don't think it's so much about being stuck here. I think that our energy is being healed. And once our energy is completely healed from what has happened to its body here on earth or the soul on earth, then it gets to go on. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know for sure. And no, I don't think anybody knows for sure. But I think it's just one way I see things. Okay. And then the thing is, also, I feel like, energy is always here. So, for instance, let's say my brother that passed away, if he was here all the time and he would say certain phrases and certain things, I think that stuff will loop and it will come through again. And it will come through. At that very time that he did it a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, I think energy just stays here. That's why our loved ones, I can sense energy around a person and say, hey, I feel like your mom is around. I feel like she watches you brush your hair because she's showing me stuff that's actually happening in your house. Or I feel like, she's telling me that, hey, you need to quit skipping, lunch all the time. Because it's like they're telling me things about the individual, that they need to quit skipping lunches. And they're like, ah, man, I knew she'd say that. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing. So it's like, I got their energy around. I can see the energy around. I can see it actually interacting with them. So I feel like the energy maybe never ever leaves. Maybe there's a part of the energy always stays here on earth. That's why I'm able to connect with that energy and never really leaves. So I don't know. I really don't have the answers, but I just threw out some stuff I believe.
Is there a reading in particular that maybe might have changed your perspective on things?
Well, I did a reading for a past life reading for an individual, which is kind of cool. He asked me if I could actually connect with his past life. And at this time, I was trying to build a website with some other people that I was doing past lives. They were doing connection to past loved ones. Another one was doing like tarot readings and stuff. So we was going to build like this actual energy group on Facebook and stuff. So we was doing really, really well. But this guy came to me and said, can you, read my past life? So, you know, and these people that believe in past lives believe it because they dream it every day or they relive it every day. It's sad because it goes on and on every night when they go to sleep. So I ended up connecting with this gentleman and I said, well, I saw him as a pilot. I saw him flying a plane. I saw him actually going down and crashing and being, and that's how his life ended. So I ended up giving him actually the name of a plane. I got a name, I got a year, I got a name of him and his last name. It was weird. I was getting all this information. And then I gave it to him and he went and did some research. And he ended up finding this actual individual that this happened to. Exactly what I saw. And then he found a picture of him. And then he actually put his picture and the gentleman's picture, and they looked like identical twins.
Wow.
crazy?
Yeah.
And this was like 60 years ago that it happened. So that's how crazy these readings can be. They are really intense. I'll tell you another reading I did. It was very intense. I was actually helping another individual. I offered reading. She wanted me to connect with a certain individual's name, so I connected with them. And but at the end, I saw that the gentleman was passed, but I saw this individual gave him a hug, and when she gave him a hug, his arms went over and hugged her. Now, that's just what I saw. So she's kind of like really crying because this is freaked her out because when her dad passed, she gave him a hug. And you know how their body jerks after they're dead. Sometimes they jerk. His arms actually jerked and hugged her.
Wow.
So I'm actually seeing exactly what's going through her mind, what maybe through his energy or maybe through the guides. But either way, it's to a point where it was shocking that I saw all this information. And she said to me, "How do you do that? How do you actually do that? How do you become?" It's almost like I become their life, in their circle when things are happening like that. It's like I'm standing right there like a guardian angel myself, standing there and actually watching it unfold and then relay that information back to her. I ain't saying I'm a guardian angel, but I'm just saying I might be some kind of guardian. Maybe that's what my energy is. Maybe I'm part of a guardian connection or something. I don't know. But sometimes I actually put myself in their body or in their energy field and see things only they know about, only they have experienced, and only they haven't told anybody. So to be able to receive that information, it's really shocking for people.
What's the most common message that past loved ones want to share with the living?
Well, I say just a lot of them, they're just, a lot of them are sad because they weren't there for the passing, or they're sad because they argued just before they died. Okay. They want kind of like, want to say they're sorry for, the argument, are sorry for the miscommunication, are sorry that, maybe they didn't listen to mom or didn't listen to dad. That's what it is. They want to go in there and say that they're sorry for what they have done, or they're sorry that they couldn't be there with them like they should have been. Sometimes we're too busy. Sometimes we're working at our day job. We're working 60, 70 hours, and then your child passes away. So you're sorry because you could have maybe been there for them, and maybe you could have changed the outcome. Who knows?
And can you explain remote viewing to someone who has never heard of it before?
Yeah, it's very simple. Back in the I think it's in the 70s, I think 60s or 70s or something like that, the actual military used this. Of course, there was a thing called where the military would use it, and they would actually put individuals in a room, and they would actually say, give a name of something or give a name of a person, and they would write down what they would see on a piece of paper, and then they would take all the information and give it to the main person, and they would look at all the information and see who actually saw the same stuff. So it's kind of cool. That's called remote viewing. So they actually could use these people to rescue people that actually were taken from the enemy. They could actually find them by the actual remote viewers. So remote viewing is basically simple. It's like, say, if say we hadn't talked today, right? Then all of a sudden, I just I'm sensing like a purple shirt, or like, is that a butterfly on your shirt? What is that?
Yeah.
A, a butterfly. So this is what I'm saying. Okay, before we even start the show, I'm sensing you're gonna wear something purple with a butterfly, and I see all kinds of dolls around you. What the heck? And then all of a sudden we start the show, and there it is. That's remote viewing. You're seeing things in another place that you should not be seeing. You're not able to see, but you're seeing it. So I've done this with multiple people. I've actually done tests with this before. I usually did this with my family because it was safe. It was a safe place. So if you want to practice stuff like that, call your brother in Texas if you live in Michigan and say, listen, let me see what's around you. And just kind of zone in and see what you see. You got to actually pay attention to what's being given to you. Now, we have our own mind that will give us information, but then we have our own connection to the spirit world and everything, and to our guides and everything. And all we have to do is just be able to tap in to what the universe. We have to be able to tap into our guides and tap into, to our own self and believe what's being given to us. The thing is about it, people will actually, like, I'll say, first, what comes to your mind? Okay. Like, what am I holding in my hand right now? I'm holding something in my hand. So if you would say to me, oh, what do you think I'm holding in my hand? Let's see if you can get anything about it. Let's see if you can get a color. Let's see if you can get anything about it. What do you think?
Like a pin.
A pen. Okay. Okay. What do you see any colors or any shapes? It's not that easy.
Like a navy blue, maybe.
Okay. Navy blue. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I have. Okay. But there is no pen here. I don't see any pen and I don't see anything navy blue. And it is a ghost.
Oh, that's so cute.
And the thing is about it, now listen, but remote viewing is basically like you could actually see that I have cat balls. So you would say, Rick, I see cat balls and I see some scissors.
Scissors.
So that's what it is. You're just seeing things on my end that you should not be able to see, but you're seeing it because you're tapping into my energy, you're tapping into the universe, you're tapping into my thoughts. A lot of this is all connected to everything together. We're all connected in some way. So that's how I do all my readings. So whenever I go down, I just close my eyes and start connecting. But I have an actual doorway that gets me to where I need to go because I open that doorway, okay? Believing in myself, practicing, and understanding what I'm seeing. See, a lot of mediums and psychics today, they don't really put the time and energy into that. They have to put the time and energy into actually, practicing their gift, understanding what's being given to them, and actually relaying the right messages back to an individual. When I first started doing this, I heard like multiple voices that would tell me things. Okay. I was not connected to my one spirit guide. I had multiple voices. So I would get things not even close, not even close. But see, now it's like, boom, I'm connected to one energy, one actual spirit guide that actually is a higher spirit guide that sees, feels, and understands every time I connect with somebody, the information is downloaded to me. So that is my connection with my spirit guide. I do not know my spirit guide. I do not know any of the guardian angels like some people say they do. I watch people on the internet and they'll say, what's my guardian angel's name? Tommy. What's my guardian angel's name? Jenny. I don't know how they do that. If how do you even know? Is it real? You know what I mean? I think it's more of an entertainment purposes, but I don't know my guides. I just know there's somebody, some energy, some powerful energy that's giving me the insight to actually offer this information and connect on the level I do.
Yeah. Um, yeah, for you to be able to, you know, pinpoint what's in a room with somebody and not be able to know or see them. I mean, I think that's amazing in itself.
And it is cool, but that's the same thing I do whenever I do an energy reading. For instance, all of a sudden I just will tap in. Hey, I keep seeing a heart-shaped necklace, you know what I mean? And the thing is, I'll do this in a private messenger, and all of a sudden I keep seeing a heart-shaped necklace, and I see an S in the middle of the heart. Well, that was her husband's name was Sean, and she made that with a heart with an S with Sean. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm heart-shaped with an S. So that's remote viewing. I'm seeing what she actually has actually made for her husband that passed away. But I'm doing this in a messenger. I'm just typing what I'm seeing. So I'm not seeing the individual, but I'm still remote viewing. So even whenever I do readings for people, past loved ones, I'm still seeing remote viewing. I'm using that as part of my gifts because whenever I do an actual past loved one reading, and I might see that they're in a wheelchair. Well, that's remote viewing. I'm seeing a wheelchair. Okay. I might see that, for instance, I don't know, that they love red cars and they have like three red cars outside. That's remote viewing and seeing those three cars. Okay. That's remote viewing too. There's so many ways you can actually understand remote viewing, but it's just seeing something that is in another location that you should not be able to see. That's called remote viewing.
How has this gift changed your own view of life and death?
Well, the thing is, it's really interesting because, I've always tried to connect with my mom. Can't do it. My dad can't do it. I can't connect with my own relatives for some reason. I don't know. They just don't come to me or something. I don't know why.
I was just saying that the other night. It's aggravating. Like, I would love to connect with my brother or my grandma or my grandpa, but I can't do it.
Well, see, that's the thing. See, that's what's going on. I don't know why that is, but the thing is about it, I just know, is there an actual life after death? Okay. Is there a life after death? I honestly don't know that. And I'll tell you why. I connect with energy when they're here. I'm not connecting on the other side. But sometimes I will see them in that cage. Sometimes I will see their energy that was, say, in a wheelchair and can't walk. I will see their energy in my mind's eye in that cage, standing up in a nice, beautiful uniform or clothes, looking good and walking off. That just is a sign that they're going to the light. I might be able to see them going to the light, but I've never been able to see them on the other side. I can see them actually changing their age before they get to the other side, but I don't think I see them on the other side. So whenever I think, an 80-year-old that dies, and all of a sudden I'm seeing them as a 14-year-old, I'm seeing them in here, still on Earth, or still in their little area before they went to the other side. I think once they get to the other side, I have no way of connecting. Now, mediums can do that or psychics can do that. That's great. But I have no way. Once they go to a certain point, my gifts are done. I can't see anymore. So I just got to be honest. I mean, I would love to be able to say, okay, I see your grandpa right here smoking a pipe. You know what I mean? That would be kind of cool. I can actually see him right here standing behind you smoking a pipe. Well, see, I can't do that. But mediums feel they can do that and they can see that. And some of them are very good, some of them are very on target and very good. And actually, the person was smoking a pipe, the grandpa or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool that they can describe an actual past loved one to a T. Okay. That's kind of cool. But I can't see it. I don't have that ability to see like that. I only see when I go down, then I can see pictures, I can see thoughts, I can hear things and stuff like that. That's how it is. I can't just look at an individual and see, like their dead relative, like their brother or their uncle. But some of them can. Some of those people, I watch them, they're really good. And they'll say, I see, did your brother pass? I see your brother. I see him with actually a cool mustache. I see he has a missing a front tooth though, front tooth. And they're bawling their eyes out because he missed the front tooth. You know what I mean? And he had the mustache. He was proud of his mustache. Also, I see earring. He has an earring in his left ear, you know, kind of looks like a cross. Well, that's what he wore. They show a picture of him wearing a cross. I mean, come on. When you give details like that, those are really strong mediums. And they're around. They're around. I just think a lot of the mediums nowadays, they're a new wave of coming through mediums. I just saw a post earlier, 20 years ago, there might have been like 3,000 mediums in the world. Now there's 356,000 mediums in the world. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I know there's a couple of some people just do it for the money,
Well,
and
it's all about the money. And I'll tell you,
yeah.
this is what really bothers me is an individual that charges $1,000 for a 45-minute reading or an hour reading. Now, I usually charge $35 for a reading, but I usually I do so much. I offer the reading, I do an EVP session, I usually pull some cards or whatever I do. I always go the extra mile to take care of that person. I'm not here to rip them off, but it is in my life to make money that way. Okay. My life is my day job. Okay. So that's how I make money. If I was to actually do this full time, honestly, I'd have to have a higher price because I'm not doing my day job. So I would have to raise my prices too. So I can't say negative about people doing that, raising their prices, but I can say negative about a person that pays $1,000 and they walk away with no connection at all. I can say that's horrible to do that to an individual. Or I can say, I have a whole year of waiting for readings and they're charging, like I said, 500 to 1,000 a reading, and people are saving up their pop cans to get to the $500. I mean, that's really sad. And then all of a sudden, the person offers a reading and it really doesn't connect. And there's like, well, thank you. That's for the session. And they move on. Now that person are left with losing $500 and they have no connection. People are desperate for a connection to their past loved ones. So, but I watch it. The modern readers or the new readers now, I mean, I'm kind of blown away that so many people are following these people because it isn't that I'm jealous. I mean, they have a lot of followers. It's great. It's awesome. I don't put the time and energy like I used to. I probably would have a lot more too. But the thing is I watch them and they don't direct connect with anybody. They just throw a bunch of stuff out and they're hoping that somebody's going to grab all the information. And when they grab all the information, then they try to bring them on and try to offer more information. But it's like you're throwing out to the universe if you have 1,000 people watching. And of course, I see all these people. Yes, well, that could be my brother. That could be my dad. That sounds like my mom. That sounds like my son. I mean, you have all these people going in there doing it. It's just like a madhouse. It's a madhouse. Instead of taking an individual and say, okay, you're the first person up. Who do you want me to connect with? Boom. Then you offer that reading, and they're like, oh my God, that was so amazing. Wouldn't you rather see something like that than to have all this going on? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's to a point where it's overwhelming.
I,
Overwhelming.
I feel like it would also be very draining in the energy with, I mean, if you're trying to connect with one person, but there's all these people and then you're trying to see if it's them, I mean, that's taking energy in itself. I don't see how that's really possible.
Well,
Uh,
well, thing is, what bugs me is though, is like, I mean, like I made a post today. A person comes on, a medium comes on and says, I see a gentleman 60 to 70. He died in the hospital. He had a heart attack. His name starts with E or maybe B. Okay, so yeah, I'm throwing that out, right? To a crowd of 1,000 people. How many people is going to have a connection to E? How many is going to have a connection to the first name of E? You know what I mean? A harmony's gonna have a connection to a B, first name of B, right? How many people's had somebody from the 60s or 70s that died of a heart attack? I have a lot of family members that died in that time frame of a heart attack. You know what I mean? And how
yeah.
many died in the hospital? So we have to look at the situation and see what's being thrown out there. And it hits so many people, so it makes it way less of a validation for people. But they just go crazy over this stuff. I don't know what it is. TikTok's terrible for it. Just terrible. And the thing is, what really bugs me is these people, they will actually throw out this stuff and they'll wait for like 45 minutes to an hour. And by then they've already gotten like hundreds and hundreds of gifts and gifts and gifts before they even did a reading. So I was like, it's a business. That's what it is. It's not more of connecting with people. It's a business to make money, to actually, get followers, get shares. That's what they do. You got to share, you got to like, you got to give me stars, whatever. The thing is, it's like a really good business. And these people are doing really well. They're really, really doing well. But that's not me. I'm not doing that. I'm not asking for gifts. I'm not asking, even though Facebook asked for it, but I'm not a person say, hey, give me some gifts, or hey, can you give me some stars, or hey, can you do this? Can you do that? You know what I mean? I'm not doing it because I don't need that. I'm just going to offer what I do, and then it's going to get around by word of mouth, and that's how it works. But I would love to have those followers. Yeah, I would love to have 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers come on my show. Yeah, it'd be awesome. The most I ever had was 125, and that felt really great. It does make you feel good to have that. But if you're going to do that kind of business, connect with people on a level where it's important for yourself and for the individual. Because how many people in that group are really sad now that they never they thought it was their uncle, but they never got the connection. They might have thought it was their sister, but they never got to communicate. How many people are going to be sad because it's going to take part of their energy away, because now they never got up there because they thought that was their aunt or their uncle or their brother. It does create sadness for these people, I think.
I think so too. I think it's just a money grab.
Yeah, it's a money grab thing, but I tell you what, it's so popular and everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. I've never seen so many people. People found out this is a money way of making money, and people are doing it. And it's really, and I'm going to get off of that topic, but it's just really. But like I said, I would love to be in their shoes, but I would be offering direct connect readings, and it'd be a way better situation. And I feel good about it. I want to feel good about it.
Has there been any challenges or difficult moments in your journey?
Yes, many. It got to a point where my wife wanted, wanted to say goodbye to me because I was so obsessed with the EVPs. I mean, every time I opened my mouth, it was the EVP. I mean, we never went out for dinner. I never helped her with the kids. I worked all day. Then I actually went out all night ghost hunting. I mean, it's been the whole time it's been difficult with this gift. It's been hard for me because no matter where I go, something weird happens. No matter where I go, there's something bringing me into it. I quit this thing multiple times. I was supposed to retire last year because, I just wanted to give it up. But it's just to a point where I keep getting drawn back in it. So every time I quit, somehow I'm having dreams. Or sometimes, people are sending me messages on Facebook, or they're sending me messages in my emails or on other platforms. If I quit Facebook, they're hitting me other platforms. No matter where I go, they're hitting me. You understand what I mean? So I'm always never going to give it up unless I get rid of all platforms and be done with it. But it seems like something always brings me back. It's almost like a curse, I keep getting drawn back, keep getting drawn back. Like say, for instance, the first time I wanted to quit, this lady came up and said, "Do you want to write a book?" So yeah, of course, I got back in it. Next one said, "Hey, do you want to be on TV?" I said, "Yeah, I want to do it." So I got on Unexplained TV, brought me back in it. Then the next one said, "Hey, you want to write another book?" Boom, I wrote another book. See, it's always something. Hey, do you want to be my gallery reader at my event? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So I'm always being brought back in it. But it's getting to a point where it's like, I'm, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for me. I really don't know. I'm just going to keep on working. And maybe whenever I retire my day job, I might, pick up and start doing readings, a lot. I don't know. But I don't like doing them so much. So much. I get depressed too. I'll get depressed reading so many people. It's to the point where I just don't want to do it. I don't want even to go up and look at people on the video because I get tired. I get exhausted. I work all day. And then all of a sudden I have to do a reading show. And it takes a lot of energy out of me. And it's just to a point where it's like my body and mind doesn't want to do it sometimes. So that's why I haven't been on, lately on Facebook and done readings in ages. I just don't do it anymore. I think it's just like, I'll read here and there for a paid reading if I have time, or I'll do a gallery reading if I'm invited, or an event if I'm invited. But I kind of like I think my whole journey's kind of like in a stall right now. But see, my page is growing like crazy. See, there's another thing that brought me back. This year I've gained probably 55,000 followers. So you see what I mean? Something's always dragging me back in. Ah!
But how are things at home now? Are things better for you?
Oh, everything's a lot better. See, because I know how to handle things now. See, I know how to shut things off. I know how to not spend all the time. I still am constantly doing things on Facebook because I'm promoting my page. I'm constantly doing videos. I'm constantly editing videos. I'm constantly, trying to work on some new things on the side, that might be an adventure for me. I would love to be able to get in a TV show and actually do some stuff. I would actually do it. I mean, I actually turn on 4 TV shows. I've turned on because in my life here, where I'm at right now, the community where I'm at, is not a good situation. So I'm a very Christian community, very Christian. It was actually the number one churches in one street was in this town I live in. They had the most churches. It was in the Guinness Book of Records. So it's a very Christian community here. A lot of churches, a lot of Christian people. So they don't believe in what I do. They don't understand what I do, and they, are against what I do. So I just kind of like, I have 2 names. I have my author name that I do all my paranormal, and then I have my Rick Prater name, which is my real name. That's where my community knows me, but they don't know me as a psychic or a seer or a medium or a paranormal investigator. They don't. So I have a safe zone.
And what do you wish more people understood about the work that you do?
Well, I think, I think I would like people to know that, um, like one guy asked me one time, he said, if you could redo this all over again, would you do it? I had to think a lot about that, would I actually do it all over again? And as I'm thinking now, I still would say yes because I've helped so many people. Okay. I've helped people in a good way, in a positive way. So I would say yes, I would do it all over again. But it's not an easy decision because it's been hard on me too. I don't have any friends. I don't hang out. I don't do anything. Before I started this gift, I used to go karaoke in. I used to play pool all the time. I used to hang out with friends, do football, basketball. I do nothing. I just, now just spend time at the house, but I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I don't have any friends I can call a friend and go do stuff. I just don't. This is actually taking up everything in my life. So if you're going to do something like this, be prepared because it's going to consume your energy. It's going to consume your life. Just be prepared because I don't know. Like I said, is it a curse? It could be a curse. But if you put time and energy into anything, it will grow. It will actually succeed if you put time and energy into it. And that's what I did. I put time and energy into it. I planted a seed and it has grown. And that's what it is.
And what advice would you give to someone who thinks they might have similar abilities as you?
Well, if a person has my abilities, well, there's ways to actually do things that you don't have to be worried about. See, you got to be careful if you go into groups and stuff. I mean, you have some good people and you have some bad people. There's some people that will tear you up and say you're a fake, you know what you're doing, I mean, there's some really mean people out there. So if you're going to do something, what I do, you got to find your family members, you got to communicate with your family members or your friends, do exercises. One thing for like remote viewing, an exercise is very easy. Just take a movie you haven't watched, like a half an hour movie, sit down, write down 5 things, what you think's in the actual movie, and then watch the movie and see if you see these things. That's another way of remote viewing. Or write down 5 things you think you're going to see throughout your day. Write them down. Then all of a sudden, it will click in your mind. So say, all of a sudden, I see a car on the road with a flat tire on the back rear tire. I wrote that down. I'm driving on the road. Doggone, there it is. It will hit you because it's in your mind. It will hit you. That's a spirit guide saying, hey, there it is. There it is. So yeah, take your time. If you're going to do something like this, be prepared. Be prepared because it's going to take a lot of your energy. But if you want to learn something like this, you have to put time and energy. Most people don't do that. I was obsessed. For me to get as good as I am, I had to be obsessed. I had to hone my abilities and I had to give 110 to my abilities and not to my family, not to my friends, not to my job. That's what I did. And that hurt me all the way around.
And where can people find you if they want to attend one of your events or book a reading or just follow you in general?
Just go on my page, Rick Waid, on my page. That's basically what I use is Facebook. I do have a website, but I don't hardly ever use it. It's on my page, on my Facebook page. You can go look at some of my stuff I put on there. But yeah, just contact me on Facebook. I put all my events on Facebook. If I do any gallery readings or if I do any kind of like Witches Weekend or any big paranormal conferences or any ghost hunts. I do ghost hunts and reading events. Too. I have one here in March 14th. It's already sold out. So and that's what it is. You just got to watch my page. But I've always had all kinds of exciting things I wanted to do with this. But it's getting to the point where I'm getting older. I am 60 years old, and I've been doing it for 22 years, and it's just to a point where I don't know. I think I like watching TV with the family. I like sitting down, having food, snacks, and watching TV with the family. I think that's kind of taking over to a point where this is not the priority anymore. My priority is my family now. So I'm finally realizing that. That's why I'm not on Facebook as much. But I still like the growing. I still like the growing, and I'm hoping that maybe one day in the future I'll get some opportunity. But the paranormal is slowly taking hits left and right. It's getting harder. Nobody wants to produce any shows anymore with paranormal. You don't see any new shows anymore. The old paranormal people are getting older. And they're getting, to a point where, they're not as popular as they was. So, things are not being refreshed. Things are not growing anymore. So it's making it hard for the paranormal to stay relevant. But it's always going to stay relevant. And maybe not the way it's been. It blew up. It went crazy. A lot of crazy stuff happened. So a lot of paranormal has been hurt by a lot of crazy things going on. So, but and the psychic world has always been here too. But I honestly feel in the future there's going to be issues with the paranormal. There's going to be issues with psychic and mediums. It's going to be a scary situation to a point where you might not be welcome like you are now. It might be, and that you might not have the opportunity like you used to. So me offering reading and stuff might be a point where I could go to jail or something. I get a feeling. I just see this future. If things don't change, it's going to be bad.
It's
So,
almost gonna go like back into like the witch trial area.
right, that's what it is. I'm going to have a mark on my back. And I'm just being honest with you. I put a post on here before. 2 years ago, I put a post up. That I'm going to have a mark on my back. Any person that certain colors going to have a mark on their black. Anybody that that does certain things, that is against certain ways, you're going to have a mark on your back. It's going to hurt because if you don't follow a certain rules, you're going to be have a mark on your back. So I hope that doesn't happen, but it's kind of scary what's going on with the world right now to a point where, if you're different, you're going to be in trouble. So you have to follow, or if you don't follow, you're going somewhere else. They're going to put you. So I'm just letting you know it's scary.
Well, Rick, thank you much. Hold on.
That's all
Woo.
right. We're doing great.
Rick, thank you so much for sharing your incredible experience and insights with us today. Your work is truly fascinating and brings comfort to so many people seeking connection with their past loved ones. The evidence you've captured and the readings that you provide are opening minds, hearts, and to the possibilities beyond what we could see. To everyone listening, we want to learn who wants to learn more about Rick's work or attend one of his events. We'll have all his information linked in the description below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious and keep an open mind.